I don't want people taking Head Start lightly. I'm sitting here today because Head Start lived up to its name. It gave me a head start. So if you are confirmed, will you commit to reviewing these terminations decisions, and will you report to this committee on the Office of Head Start's current ability to fully function and serve providers and families? That's a yes or no question.
Senator, my job is to follow the law. So if errors have been made, I would look to correct those. But my job is to follow the law and ensure that all legal obligations related to Head Start are being fulfilled.
Well, I'm not asking. I'm glad to hear that you will follow the law. That's an important answer. But I'm asking you about these terminations and their impact on Head Start operations. We've seen what happens when they push this button without taking stock of what it will actually do. So I'm asking you that will you review the terminations and then report back to this committee whether or not you think it's working? That's a management question.
Yeah.
Yes or no?
Senator, I'm happy to look at it.
Will you report back to the committee? How will I know you've looked at it? Will you report back to the committee? I think it's a simple question, sir.
Senator, legislative relations is really important to me. I will follow the internal practices to ensure that I am working with the legislature as expected.
In your answers, I feel the pressure that you feel from the administration. Thank you, Chairman Crapo. I'm grateful and honored to be joining this committee. I look forward to working with you and Ranking Member Wyden to ensure our tax code supports working families, to protect Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and to promote trade policies that work for Georgia businesses and that boost our economy. Mr. Bessent, good morning and good to see you again. I enjoyed our conversation earlier this week, and in that conversation, you outlined ambitious goals for the federal government and deficit reduction. I'd like to follow up on our discussion about your economic plan. According to a new report from the Tax Policy Center, the largest tax cuts from extending the Trump tax bill would go to those with the highest income, especially those in the top 1%, making more than $1 million per year. In fact, the top 1% of owners will take home roughly 1/4 of the benefits of the law, and the top 5% will get almost half of that. Do you believe that the wealthiest 1% of Americans deserve or need an additional tax cut?
Senator Warnock, I greatly enjoyed visiting with you. I think probably a better way to look at it is on a percentage basis. And when I think about the distributional aspects of the Tax Cuts and Job Act, that most of the benefits accrued for the working and middle people as opposed to the upper ends. In absolute dollars, as you just read, that is correct, but I think it's important to look at it in percentage terms.
So you believe that the tax cut that provided 1/4 of the benefits of the law to the top 1% and top 5% getting almost 1/2 actually benefited those at the bottom more than it did those at the top. Is that your testimony?
I believe that in 2018, 2019, that the households in the bottom 50% of income earners, the wealth increase for those households was three times higher than the wealth increase for the top 10% of Americans.
So we should continue to move in that direction and give more tax cuts to those at the highest. You have talked about high deficits as a national defense problem, and I agree with that. I think we need to be fiscally responsible. We need to work to close the deficit and bring the national debt under control. In 2013, Congress extended the Bush tax cuts for everyone except those making more than $400,000 a year. This bipartisan decision saved the Treasury $600 billion, helping to narrow the deficit. Do you agree that ending the tax cuts for those making more than $400,000 would help close the deficit and reduce our national debt?
Senator Warnock, I do not. I believe that you would capture an inordinate amount of small business people who largely are in that cohort of 400,000 to a
So
million.
you wouldn't cut it off at 400,000. What about $1 million?
That, again, I believe these are small business pass-through owners, and I believe that we, as I said before, Wall Street's done great. It is time for Main Street to do well, and small businesses need to drive what I call the reprivatization here away from this government spending.
I agree that it's Main Street's time. I'm from Atlanta, so I'll say Peachtree and some other locations in my state. What about those making more than 10 million? Would we reduce the deficit by extending those tax cuts for folks making about $10 million?
So again, I think it's important that we put in incentives for them to invest. So going back to the 100% depreciation for equipment, that I think that.
And I don't mean to keep interrupting, but I'm the pastor, and we're known to be loquacious of speech, but I'm running out of time here. What about $1 billion?
So again, that I think that these are the job creators.
So there's no income level for which you would support raising taxes. Is that fair?
There is no income level that I don't think we should continue the TCJA as it was.
All right. I think our country is facing structural deficits. However, I think that to continue to reduce taxes for the wealthy and letting them avoid taxes based on what they already owe is not going to get us out of that problem. But I look forward to continuing that discussion with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Chairman. At a rally a few months ago, Donald Trump said that he was going to allow Mr. Robert Kennedy to, quote, go wild on health. Go wild. Of all the things that I can think of that I'd like to see a Secretary of Health and Human Services do, go wild is not on the list. Mr. Robert Kennedy is manifestly unqualified for the job he seeks. And in both my live and written questions for the record, he failed to commit to protecting access to affordable health care, failed to commit to protecting the people who are protecting us. The problem that the CDC has is that every day these noble civil servants and workers protect us from dangers that we don't see. And often you don't get credit for protecting people from things that they don't see. I simply do not trust him to oversee the CDC. He's unqualified, and I dare say everybody here knows it. We need a serious person at the helm of the HHS, an agency responsible for about half of the health of about half of all Americans. Mr. Kennedy appears more obsessed in chasing conspiracy theories than chasing solutions to lower health care costs for working families in Georgia and to make sure that we are protected. The last thing we need is a dilettante dabbling in conspiracy theories at HHS. I cannot vote for a nominee who is not going to lower health care costs for Georgians, who is going to undermine basic science in public health, who puts his own interests above the health and the well-being of others. For the health and well-being of all of our families, the people who count on us, to think about them in these rooms of power. I urge all of my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to look past politics and think of country and to find the moral courage to do what's right. Oppose this nomination.
Thank you, Senator Warnock. We now have not only a quorum, but all members of the committee are present. I move that the committee favorably report the nomination of the Honorable Robert F. Kennedy, Jr. of California to be Secretary of Health and Human Services. Is there a second?
Second.
There is a second. The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Grassley.
Aye.
Mr. Grassley, aye. Mr. Cornyn.
Aye.
Mr. Cornyn, aye. Mr. Thune.
Aye.
Mr. Thune, aye. Mr. Scott.
Aye.
Mr. Scott, aye. Mr. Cassidy.
Aye.
Mr. Cassidy, aye. Mr. Langford.
Aye.
Mr. Langford, aye. Mr. Daines. Mr. Daines, aye. Mr. Young. Mr. Young, aye. Mr. Barrasso. Mr. Barrasso, aye. Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson, aye. Mr. Tillis. Mr. Tillis, aye. Mrs. Blackburn. Mrs. Blackburn, aye. Mr. Marshall. Mr. Marshall, aye. Mr. Wyden.
No.
Mr. Wyden, no. Ms. Cantwell.
No.
Ms. Cantwell, no. Mr. Bennett. Mr. Bennett, no. Mr. Warner. Mr. Warner, no. Mr. Whitehouse. Mr. Whitehouse, no. Ms. Hassan. Ms. Hassan, no. Ms. Cortez Masto. Ms. Cortez Masto, no. Ms. Warren.
No.
Ms. Warren, no. Mr. Sanders.
No.
Mr. Sanders, no. Ms. Smith.
No.
Ms. Smith, no. Mr. Lujan.
No.
Mr. Lujan, no. Mr. Warnock.
No.
Mr. Warnock, no. Mr. Welch.
No.
Mr. Welch, no. Mr. Chairman. Chairman votes aye. Mr. Chairman, the final tally is 14 ayes, 13 nays.
The vote was, would the clerk please restate the vote?
Mr. Chairman, the final tally was 14 ayes, 13 nays.
The vote was 14-13. The nomination is reported favorably. We will now turn to other senators who would like to make a statement. Since I asked my Republican colleagues to hold off at the outset, I'll go to the Republican side next. First, Senator Tillis.
Mr. Adams, welcome to you and to your family. I am a product of good public policy. I know what happens when we get the federal public policy right. I'm a proud alum of Head Start. Head Start provided me and millions of others a great education and a strong start in life, and if confirmed, you would oversee Head Start, which serves over 800,000 children and families, 23,000 of which are in my state of Georgia. In April, HHS closed and consolidated 5 of the 10 regional Head Start offices. I'm hearing from providers in Georgia that these closures have resulted in reduced access for those children and their families. And that's why in April I sent a letter to Secretary Kennedy demanding answers. Sadly, I've yet to hear a response. Mr. Adams, I know you weren't involved in this decision. You stand before this committee seeking confirmation. But if confirmed, will you ensure that I will get an answer to my letter within the next 30 days?
Senator, first, let me just say thank you to your staff for opening their doors to me a couple weeks back and spending some time to get to know me and my positions for ACF. I'd reiterate what I said in my opening statement. Head Start is one of the priorities I want to focus on. My wife, who's here today, her grandmother ran a Head Start in Blackfoot, Idaho in the late 60s and early 70s. Establishing a line of communication, ensuring that Head Start grantees across the country have access to the information they need when they need it is something that's important to me, and I look forward to working with you on that. In terms of legislative response, as you said, I can't speak to what's happened at the agency today. I'm not there
My
today.
question is, will you work to get me an answer to my letter within 30 days after you're confirmed? That's my question.
Senator, legislative responsiveness is something that's always going to be important to me. I will ensure I can get you a response as quick as possible. As the nominee, I don't know all the sign-off processes internally at HHS, but I commit to getting you an answer as timely as possible.
You've testified that you will support Head Start and work to ensure the program's success. How will you ensure the closures of regional offices do not further disrupt access to Head Start for families? I'm hearing from providers.
Yes.
It has disrupted services.
Senator, well, I'd reiterate what Secretary Kennedy said, which is his intention is to make Head Start better and brighter by the end of this term. One of the things, I run the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare. Head Start grants don't go through us. I have a Head Start collaboration office, but they're private entities and nonprofit entities. To the extent that they don't have a line of communication, I'd be happy to work within the agency and set that up.
So my question is, what will you do to make sure that these terminations aren't disrupting access to Head Start? You said you're a big supporter of Head Start. I would think you would be working hard to make sure that we don't have disruptions in services. We've seen the Trump administration in a very reckless way, whether we're talking about the CDC or other agencies, fire a lot of people across the board. And we know it's reckless for a whole range of reasons, but they've had to admit as much when they've had to go back and rehire some of the people they fired, saying, oops, we didn't quite know, let's try to push that button. So I don't want people taking Head Start lightly. I'm sitting here today because Head Start lived up to its name and gave me a head start. So if you are confirmed, will you commit to reviewing these terminations decisions, and will you report to this committee on the Office of Head Start's current ability to fully function and serve providers and families? That's a yes or no question.
Senator, my job is to follow the law. So if errors have been made, I would look to correct those. But my job is to follow the law and ensure that all legal obligations related to Head Start are being fulfilled.
Well, I'm not asking, I'm glad to hear that you will follow the law. That's an important answer. But I'm asking you about these terminations and their impact on Head Start operations. I hope you will take account of what the people you're pledging to serve are actually feeling. Thank you very much.
Senator Cortez Masto.